Hi, I'm Belinda and I'm going to take you through my user flow concept for the RedBubble app and show you how and why I created it. RedBubble is an e-commerce site that sells print-on-demand products based on user-submitted artwork. RedBubble have a desktop site and an app. The issue with RedBubble is that buyers can access the site via the desktop site and the app. Unfortunately for sellers, there's currently no seller portal on the app. Sellers can only manage their accounts on the desktop site. As a seller myself, I found this very frustrating as sellers are such an integral part of the product itself, so I decided to try and solve this problem. I began the process of finding a solution by researching via existing knowledge in the form of App Store reviews. This confirmed my hunch, so I then proceeded with creating a user persona to identify why and how people use the product. I then benchmarked via an expert review, as this method is cost-effective, time-efficient, and uncovered the why via use of the desktop research. The key insights of this were: why is there no user flow for sellers? How can we incorporate one into the existing app? And what are the key usability features sellers need on the app? I then created a context clarifier which identified the need for this issue to be corrected. The next phase involved interviewing 3 users who had been using the product for a number of years. All 3 had similar pain points regarding the lack of seller portal on the app. These were confusion as to why they weren't included in the app, frustration that they can't access their accounts on their mobile devices, and confusion as to why the existing seller user flow on the desktop site wasn't incorporated into the app. Upon synthesizing the results from the interviews, the key insight was that sellers need and want a user flow on the app. The seller user flow was then storyboarded to reflect the results of the user interviews. This showed how users might use the app on their mobile devices and how convenient it would be for them. Sketches were then made to identify the user flow, in this case that of uploading artwork. Iterations of ideas to complete that task were then sketched out. The ideations were reviewed and then prioritised via the dot voting method. Idea number 3 was the preferred outcome as it was relevant to the problem statement and met the objective. It was feasible from a tech perspective as it adapts a similar user flow to that of the desktop site. It's desirable for users as the user flow is similar to that of the desktop site. It has all necessary steps to complete the task, and it's viable from a business perspective as the value will outweigh the cost of implementation. Idea number 3 was then paper prototyped and tested by users. Digital wireframes were then created, taking into account feedback from the paper prototyping, such as group the cell menu items into themes, switch edit product and product preview screens so you can view the image on all products first, and page titles were added to improve page identification and user flow. Moderated remote usability testing was carried out due to the updated locations of the testers. Users were recorded via video conferencing, which allowed me to observe and record their behaviours. The results were then digitally synthesised, the result of which provided key insights. The majority of users were happy with the prototype and found it easy to use and understand. They felt the prototype met the brief and the goals of the project, and that the desktop user flow can be adapted to the app. Some suggestions users had were adding a media type button on the upload artwork page. While only 1 out of 3 users suggested this, I felt it was a good idea that will help narrow the search criteria for users. So this recommendation was implemented. The second suggestion was to consider having an edit button under the product description. As only 1 out of 3 users suggested this and the other 2 intuitively clicked on the image to edit it, this recommendation was not implemented. The outcome of all the research, testing, user feedback and synthesis was to create a clickable prototype for the seller portal, specifically focusing on uploading artwork. This was designed in Adobe XD and begins at the app landing page. Then progresses to the login page where users enter their username and password, then click on the login button. This then takes you to the home page or the main menu. Click on the Sell menu to access your seller account. Then click on Upload Artwork. The Select Image page appears, which loads your photo album. Select an image by clicking on it. On the next screen, Upload Image, your image will then appear. Add a description, tags, and select a media type with the radio buttons, then click Save. This will then preview your image on all available products. To edit a product, just click on the image. On the Edit Product page, you can reposition your image on the product via clicking and dragging and scale it via the slider. To enable the product for sale, click on the Enable button, then Save. You'll now return to the Product Previews page where you can click on another product to edit it, or use the static menu at the bottom of the screen to choose your next destination. The next steps of the project will be further usability testing of the clickable mid-fi prototype, then synthesizing that data to create a hi-fi prototype, which will then be tested again before going live. And that's my concept. Thank you for watching.